we're back. And this time we're going to be running through a little build series we're doing on Jason's ZB Fairlane, a car we like to call the Turbo Tank, and for good reason. Look at the size of this thing. It's huge. But we have had the absolute pleasure on working on Jason's personal car. For those who don't know, Jason is the owner of Shotgun Performance. Now, he's been looking after my converters for many, many, many years, and we like to use his converters and all of his transmission parts in all of our cars. So when he came to us and said, this is what I've got, and this is what I want to do, we said, let's get after it, let's do it. So he acquired the car as a roller. He had an engine and a transmission ready to go, and he said, this is what I want to do whatever you need to do to make it happen. So we had a bit of free reign on regards to creativity and everything we've learned over the years to chuck in the build. So we're going to chuck in part one. Part one's going to be putting the engine and transmission together, showing you the engine mounts, the trans mounts, and the mid-plate mounts, along with mounting the turbos, the intake pipe, and all of the manifolds to suit. So jump on board with us. We're going to show you what we've done. We'll jump down here and show you what's going in it. So these are a few of the things that we've got going on in Jason's car. So first thing, it wouldn't be called the Turbo Tank without turbos. So we got some twin GT47s going on it. So these are 76 mils, I believe. And you can see a couple of our custom piping and everything that we've done along the way. So this will be the wire piece and everything going in it as well. Along with some big old boots up here. So we got some 33.5 by 16.5 inch slicks going on, and these fuel centers, 16 by 16s, look amazing. So can't wait to get them on. So the rear end's going to be in part two after we get the car back from wiring, where we're going to be putting a Race Products 9-inch in it and all the 4-link and bracketry to suit, along with a couple other bits and pieces like a parachute mount, wheelie bars, and everything else. So stay tuned for part two, but let's jump into getting this engine and radiator and all the other stuff into it. We have the trans mount just here. So we are running 1 3/8 chromoly tube up to an olefane mount on the Turbo 400. And those obviously just go over to the rails and are bolted up. So we've obviously got some final welding to do on that. But then we move forward to our mid-plate mounts. So those aren't bolted up, but they're all done in position. And then we've got our engine mounts. So we've set it all up to be in the position that we need for our big tyres at the back. So it's looking pretty good. So we're doing all the turbo stuff. So hot side, cold side, everything like that. So we're going to have the turbos mounted either side. You probably see this ring where we've had the front cover sitting. So we're going to try and make them like sit in it, so it kind of looks like pretty cool presents and all that stuff. Extractors, we're going to sit the collectors in, and then show you. We're going to have like a Y piece coming up into the throttle body because it's not going to be intercooled. It's going to run on methanol majority of the time. Along the way, we're going to be cleaning bits and pieces up and stuff. It's just some old crap here that needs to be changed. But yeah, this is a billet headed, next gen headed, I should say. Windsor, probably going to be knocking on the 2000s, which would be pretty cool. So this old girl will definitely get up and boogie. For starters, we need to make sure that the pipes are going to work, how we want to have the orientation, how we want to run the pipes and everything like that. So Will is probably going to jump onto banging some of these V-bands onto these collectors. So he'll weld that up, and then we'll get these in the right spot. And then we can jump onto the primaries, which we're using a whole bunch of different styles, but you got your long radius and your short radius. So this is 1-to-1 on a 2-inch, so it's a really tight bend compared to your more conventional long radius bend. But both 2-inch, both the same grade material, both 316. We'll be jumping on to making the primaries come out of the heads, which we have those plates that we showed you a little bit earlier, the squared arounds, and then they'll come out of the heads and then come over and bang into the collector. So we'll show you how we get that done right now.
All the pipes are going to come out of the head somehow, which we haven't figured out yet. But this is where they all come together and they slip into this. probably go somewhere like there. And then that V-band is like a quick release clamp, so we can take it off, take this pipe out that goes to the turbo without moving any of this, because this is no fun to take out. So it's good for a race car too, because it's quick and easy.
Yep. And
no doubt he'll have to do it lots. And they look cool. This is going to hold the collector there, so I can undo the V-band and take the pipes out, and they'll always go back in the same spot. So now every time we take the pipes out, undo the clamp, take that out, and the other half of the V-band's still there, so put it back in the exact same spot.
Got the passenger pipes in, collectors are all mocked up in there, come up, there they are, looking pretty good. Will's done an awesome job of doing that. Come in there, clearing all the, as close as we can on the clearances, or as far away as we can I should say. And this side has got a bunch going on. So we've got the fuel pump over here. It's going to obviously have a cable off the back of it, run down the side next to the engine mount and out to the back. 2-inch primaries with the steering rack and everything in there is tight. It is awfully tight in there. So just the back 2 primaries to go there. And yeah, she's not an easy one, this one, but that's what happens when you want to do cool stuff with limited room. From the back side here, you'll see we'll put some plates down here to reinforce the rails. From here, we'll finish those 2 primaries on this side, and then whilst Will's fixing that side up, I'll start pulling the primaries off over here, heavy tacking them, getting them to a point where we can purge them, weld them up, one by one, put them back in. Once they're sufficiently welded, all done, we're gonna start doing all the intakes to the turbos. So for the hot side, it'll go out of here, straight over to the side here, then up into the rear housings, which we're going to set the turbos back right here. We're going to work on driver side pipes. Driver side pipes over here are all tacked together, and passenger side all done. EGTs are in. So from this stage, we'll just face the flanges, and then that's pretty much good to go. I'll show you a little bit of the process of what we're going to do with the pipes. So them. So we'll start with one of the primaries. So we've just buttoned up the side panels. So as you can see, they're all welded. That's all these burn marks. They're all welded in, plug welded from the back. We're not going to bother about cleaning them up right now. We're going to keep on getting after everything else. But all the copper paint is behind it, protecting all the raw metal between the two to prevent rust. But you'll probably see there's 3 holes in this now. One's going to be for the turbo, one's going to be for the wastegate, and this one's going to be for the hot side, which will come out of the collector out into the rear turbo. So once we get all the manifolds and everything in place, then we'll be able to get them going where they need to go. So that's where the turbo is going to sit, and then we're going to have the hot side running underneath, and then obviously intake will come up and into the throttle body. So now that these are in position, we can finish up the manifolds, get them going into the rear housing, and then we can continue to mount the turbos and then jump onto the rest with the wastegates and intake pipe and everything else. So let's get after it. Alright, that is going to be a wrap for part 1 of the turbo tank build. Hope you've enjoyed it, but now it is time for Jason to pick up the car, and I cannot wait because he has not seen the car since we've started it. So now it'll head to Chris at Race Wires. The car will get wired up now that all the sensors and temp and boost and all the solenoids and everything together. So then we'll get it back, and then we'll be able to jump onto the rear end and be doing diff, shocks, 4-link, cutting out all the old stuff, wheelie bars and everything else in between. So make sure that you are subscribed so you can watch the next episodes and you'll know when they come out, and comment and let us know what you think. All right, let's go. Looks good, huh?
Yeah.
What do you reckon? First look?
Awesome.
Yeah?
Can't wait to run some boost.
You didn't show him, did you?
No. He's showing everyone else.
No, shit off.
No, good. Yeah, that's awesome.